Hey, good morning, guys. It is February 23rd, and the scripture passage is Matthew 20. And Chambers deals with specifically with verse 28, but it's the story is an interesting one. It's James and John, the sons of thunder, come with their mom, actually, which is really, that in itself is really funny. Their mom comes with them to Jesus and says, "Hey, listen, when you come into your kingdom, um, can my sons be on your right and your left? Can they be rulers with you?" And he says to them, "You don't know what you're asking." And it's really funny that so many times the disciples just don't get it. They cannot see things from a kingdom perspective. They only see things through earthly eyes, and so they're obviously still expecting it to be some kind of kingdom on earth, and they want to have a position of authority. And so um, he says, "You don't know what you're asking." Can you drink the cup that I'm going to drink? And they're like, "Oh yeah, we got that." And which he's saying, can you lay down your life the way I will? And then he says, "Yeah, you actually will." And he doesn't expand on that at all. But anyway, the whole thing it ends with him saying, "Whoever would be first must be a slave, and even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." And so he's basically just rehearsing to them this notion of what his purpose is there, and then what theirs must be. And so Chambers deals with this, and he's basically saying, if we try to serve men, if we think that we can get any satisfaction or any kind of fulfillment in serving men, just men, we will be sorely disappointed. And he's down about halfway through the study. He says the mainspring of Paul's service is not love for men, because he's talking about Paul. He's talking about Paul, and Paul again and again talks about how he didn't make himself a burden to people, and he served and he served. And the the source of Paul's motivation to serve is not mankind. And so he says the mainspring of Paul's service is not love for men, but love for Jesus Christ. If we are devoted to the cause of humanity, we shall soon be crushed and brokenhearted. Let that sink in. If we think that we're going to make any difference among mankind, and they're going to appreciate us and love us, and that's going to make any lasting difference, well, if that's the source of our satisfaction, if we think the source of our satisfaction is going to be the love that men have for us, we're going to be brokenhearted. For we shall often meet with more ingratitude from men than we would from a dog. But if our motive is to love God, if our motive is love to God, no ingratitude can hinder us from serving our fellow men. So he's saying the one will absolutely disappoint us from time to time. The other one never can. If we're serving Jesus, he'll never disappoint. And then Paul, this is Paul, kind of Chambers speaking through Paul's voice. No matter how men may treat me, they will never treat me with the spite and hatred with which I treated Jesus Christ. And so that's our motivation. That has to be our motivation, is that when we think about what Jesus did in spite of what we did. Okay, so think about that when you're thinking about how we should serve the way Jesus served you. And you think about while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And so the scorn, the hatred, the even disregard for the King of Kings, that was us. And so Jesus served us in a way that was unexpected, unworthy, I'm trying to think of a word and it's not coming to me, but we have no excuse when we think about how Jesus served us to then lay down our lives, not for man, but for him. And so I think that's the one thing. I think when you talk about burnout, Christians getting burnout. Oh, I'm just so tired of people and what they do and the way they talk. Yeah, absolutely. And that will be constant, by the way. That's going to be your whole life is going to be. If you're focused on the way people treat you or the way they even receive the way you treat them, if you're treating them with love and compassion and concern and consideration, and they treat you with disdain, that's okay. That's the way that we treated Jesus. And so don't do it for them, do it for him. There's no better way to leave it than that. So don't do it for them, do it for him. And the way Chambers says, he says, to serve men for his sake. So go with that. Thanks, guys.